Hi. Earlier today, I met with Tabitha Grant. Tabitha is a B&B host and CEO of Priority Move Lettings, which is based in Basildon in Essex, UK. Tabitha has got a wealth of experience in this industry, and she drops lots of golden nuggets for people who are new into the market and also existing hosts in the B&B industry. Please take a listen. Very good to see you.
Good to see you too, Douglas.
And thanks for coming on this call. As we spoke, I've been interviewing a few people just to find out their experiences in the short-term rental industry. And knowing that you're very experienced in it as well, I just wanted to capture your experience so that people can learn from our mistakes and our joys in the business.
Okay.
So can you tell us your background before you got involved in the short-term rental business, please?
Well, before I started with this short-term rental business, I was employed in a full-time job working as an accountant.
Yeah.
And I went and did training with a reputable company on investment, and because of that training, I was able to choose the strategy that I wanted to go with in property investment, and that was the short-term rental. Prior to that, I had no experience in property investment at all. I was just a homeowner with no experience in doing business in property. So started looking at different strategies. I spent about a year doing the training, and I looked at different strategies, and at the end of it all, I figured that short-term rental would be the one to go with. And I've been doing it now for just under 2 years, and I've learned a lot from just running the business. There's just so much you learn once you are actually doing it. The theory, you will learn a lot of things that will help you to avoid pitfalls, because you learn from other people's experiences, you learn mistakes, and then when you start, you pretty much hit the ground running, but there will still be a lot to learn. So that's basically it with me.
Okay. You're based in Basildon in Essex, UK, right? Okay.
Yes, I'm in Essex.
And I take it that most of your properties are in the Basildon, Essex area.
Yes, they are.
Okay. Now, how do you ensure that your properties are all occupied during the year? How do you maximize your occupancy?
Right. I advertise on different platforms, online travel agents, that's what they are called. There's quite a number out there. There are so many of them. So what I've done is, when I started setting up, I made sure that I do all the right things that will maximize potential occupancy. So I went ahead and had pictures taken of the places and listed these on the different online platforms. At the moment, I've got about 4 different platforms that I use, actually 5 platforms I use where I've advertised these. And having that, like having your properties advertised on different platforms, actually helps, because if you don't get a booking from one platform, there's a chance that someone else in the world somewhere is looking for accommodation using another platform. And if it's one of the ones that you're listed on, chances are you will get bookings. So having your place listed on different platforms, it just increases the chances of getting bookings.
Oh, wow. That sounds like a lot of experience you've gathered under your belt in the last few years. Now, let's move to, how did you, you mentioned to me that you have one property of your own which you're using for this business, but how did you decide to expand? How did you scale your business?
Right. I started with one, indeed, which was my own property.
Yeah.
And I then went on to acquire other properties through a scheme that, shall I call it a scheme or a strategy that is usually in the circles of property called rent to rent.
Okay, what the Americans call master lease, and the UK we call it rent to rent.
Yes, that it is exactly the same thing, just called by different names. So that's what I did. I approached landlords and I just let them know what I'm doing, what my business does, and found out from them if they were happy with what they had in their properties, like how benefiting from their properties. And since these were properties that were occupied by tenants rather than guests, it turned out that most of them were struggling with a lot of issues that we may or may not be aware of regarding having tenants in your house. And when I explained to them what I do, how they could benefit from working with me, they were happy to come on board and let me lease their properties and run the short-term rental business from. And we've been working together for some time now, and all my landlords are actually happy with they're getting from working with me. So I attended meetings, I spoke to landlords at networking events. I also went on online platforms where you can actually approach landlords directly and just emailed them, and I did get some of my properties that way.
All right, okay. That sounds interesting, because this morning, 7:30 a.m., I was in London to negotiate with a homeowner who is on HMO, basically renting room by room, and they're very tired. And while I was in the meeting, one of the tenants came and said the microwave is not working, they kept, the washing machine, and she just put her hands on her head and said, "Oh my Lord." Everything, she went away, and then she said, "Look, this is why we're in this meeting." So they're actually going to onboard the property to B&B Continental, which is going to be a good thing. So that is one way of doing it. But there is a second school of thought that believe that the co-hosting model, whereby, for example, you being a host and me being a host, would give our property to a managing company who would then manage it on our behalf. Some believe that that is better than the rent-to-rent master lease, because the rent-to-rent master lease brings a lot of, puts a lot of burden on you.
Yes.
You agree?
I do agree with that, actually. That is what I am currently looking at. Going forward, I will be going that route where I prefer doing co-hosting rather than the master lease, because as good as it is, the master lease way of acquiring properties for this short-term rental business, it has its advantages and disadvantages. With the environment now shifting, where short-term rentals are concerned, there are a lot of laws now coming up. Councils are getting involved. They are now requiring that a lot be done by the owners of the properties. It's like the councils checking with the lenders to see if the lenders have actually agreed to allow the landlords, or rather the owner, to run a short-term rental business in their property. Those things were not there before. There's now the business rates, which can be quite exorbitant depending on what council you are operating from, and a lot of other things, really, and just the risk that comes with the
rent-to-rent.
With the rent-to-rent, where if you don't get a certain level of occupancy, you may find yourself in a position where you actually have to top up the rent or anything else, any other expenses from either your pocket or to get other properties to subsidize that particular one which didn't do right. So looking at all those, when you compare that with going the route of co-hosting, it is more advantageous to go down the route of co-hosting. So that's going forward, that's how I will be looking to expand.
Oh, wow. Sounds like very interesting. Other people also think, look, as you've put it, it's okay to do co-hosting going forward. And also, there are certain properties based on their type and their location where they are. You definitely know that they will make good rental in the short-term market. And therefore, for those ones, people are quite happy to do on the rent-to-rent thing. Now, on the rent-to-rent thing, does that mean that you have guaranteed your landlord's rent? Are you on rent guarantee? Is that what it is?
Yes. The system I'm operating at the moment with the properties that I have, it is a guaranteed rent way of rent-to-rent. I've actually guaranteed the landlords the rent. So
come rain or shine, you're going to have to pay them.
Regardless of how the business operates, they don't get involved at all in that. All they know is that at the end of the month, they will get the agreed rent. How that happens, they don't really concern themselves with that. It's just an agreement to guarantee them that at the end of every month, you will receive this much in rent, and that's what they get.
Okay. In the UK, any property owner pays what they call council tax based on the local authority or the council that they're at. I'm sure in the US and other countries they do that. So you have to take the rent, which you guarantee to the homeowner. You also have to pay the council tax, and then you have to pay all the bills: the gas, electricity, water, and what else?
Well, there are all other expenses that are involved. Just to take you back on that one, depending on the council in which you are, it may be council tax or most likely to be business rates. And business rates are actually higher than council tax.
Why is it business rate? Is it called business rate because they think you're running a business?
Yes, they actually, in my local authority, they classify this short-term rental business as self-catering accommodation.
A self-catering accommodation, and therefore they charge business rates rather than the homeowner council tax.
Yes, and the business rates are almost, double what the council tax is, depending on the type of property, number of beds and all that. They've got a way that they calculate it, but it always works out to be higher than the council tax. So after all that, I will pay the bills, council tax, the rent to the landlord, as you've already mentioned, and there will be other maintenance expenses to incur because this rent-to-rent guaranteed rent, the reason why it is so desirable to homeowners is because as the short-term rental business owner, I take away that responsibility of maintenance for everything in the house apart from structural issues and big things like the boiler. So should the bulbs blow, I will replace them. Should the tap start leaking, I will sort that out. Anything that breaks in the house because of the guests, I will be the one to look after that. So there are those expenses, maintenance expenses that have to be paid, and then you've got the cleaning expenses, and any other incidental expenses that come with running a business. So it is actually it's quite a number of costs that together to make that guaranteed rent to rent rather risky, much riskier than the co-hosting.
Especially if you've got a number of the rent to rent or master lease properties And if they prevail, they form a bigger proportion of your portfolio, then that could be a big struggle. Yeah. Okay. That's excellent. That's very good information you've put out to us there. What about, let's go to reviews. How do you manage reviews? Because in this business, it's all about reviews, really. And I've had a lot of answers about it. I'd like to find out about your perception about how you manage positive, negative, and average reviews.
They are quite interesting. I actually love that side of the business because with reviews, you don't take things personal. At times, you could get a feeling that guests are actually coming at you as an individual. However, that is not the case. People always review any product, any service in whatever way they feel the service or the product has been delivered. What I actually do is I ensure that on the platforms where, as the host, you are prompted to get a request for a review from the guest, I will actually make sure that as soon as they leave, I will send them a link and ask them to give us feedback on their experience. And well, more often than not, they will. However, sometimes they just ignore that. And then on other platforms, the guest will automatically be sent an email to review their stay. And more often than not, where it comes from the online travel agent, they will give a review. Reviews can be good and they can be bad. Good reviews, I just thank the guest for their stay and the feedback. And with reviews where I feel that guests are unreasonable in their review, the feedback they are giving, I will always address the issue. For instance, if they say to me, there was a delay in the check-in, I would actually respond just by letting them know that if indeed there was, I would respond by letting them know that we are aware of that and we are working on it to improve that, because we depend on feedback from our guests to improve the service. Where guests will put up a review that is actually not a reflection of what happened or what was in the property when they came in, it depends. Sometimes I will just let it go because trying to respond to that would only seem like one is trying to defend themselves. And if it is so bad that it needs really to be addressed, I will just address it accordingly, point out that I am really sorry that this is how you feel. However, this is what was, and just clarify things so that when other potential guests read the review, they can also read the feedback from the host and understand the issue, because the reviews can build or break your business.
Absolutely.
It's really important to be very careful on how you address reviews.
Yes. The school of thought is that, don't be emotional. You've pointed out that don't take it personal. Address the particular issue that has been raised, because it is about, it's a continuous service, and therefore you just need to take the review and use that as a way to improve your services. That's exactly what you're saying.
Definitely.
Wow. Okay. Let's move on to something new, which is calendar management and use of a channel manager. Without naming names, do you use a channel manager, and how does it help with your business?
I do use a channel manager, and one thing I can say is, provided you list on more than one platform, you need to have a channel manager. Is such a time-saving software, or it will save you so much time. Without a channel manager, once you get a booking from one platform, you then have to go into your calendar and remember to block those dates that have been booked on all the other platforms where you are advertising. So without one, you will find yourself with double bookings. And double bookings, most online travel agents, they don't really take kindly to them. They are strict. They will relocate the guest and they will charge you for the cost, any additional costs. The status of relocating the guests. So you don't really want to be losing money. The use of a channel manager just makes everything so easy. Once a booking is made from one online travel agent, the channel manager will block those dates from every website where you are listed. That way, even if 10 minutes after the booking comes in, someone was looking to book your property,
it'll be blocked off.
Available. So I found that using a channel manager has really, really been such a great thing.
Wow.
Yeah, it is a must, really, if you are going to operate more than one property. And even if it is one property, if you're going to have it listed on more than one online travel agent, it takes the headache away of having to remember to do things. It's time saving.
Wow, sounds interesting. Following on from that, how about guest communication? Because, in property, it's location, location, location.
Yes.
In short-term rental, it's communication, communication, and communication. How do you manage that? Are you using your channel manager, or do you automate your communication processes? How do you do it?
Right. I've got different, as I said earlier, that I'm listed on different online travel agents.
Yeah.
Call them OTAs, right?
Yeah.
So on each one of these OTAs, I've got templates that I have made.
Set up, yeah.
Templates. Every time I get a booking, there is a way in which you can automize the response that be given to the guests when they make inquiries, when they book, and anything else that they would like to interact with you as the host on. Yeah. So these templates, I upload them, and then I set them up such that when one action happens, it will trigger this particular template to be sent out. So basically, that's just automation.
Oh, wow.
I've done that on the different online travel agents. And even though my channel manager can do that, I have found that that has worked just as well. But I am now looking into just centralizing everything and having all those templates and the communications coming from the channel manager, because it has the capability to do the same as the online travel agents, what they are doing. And also with the channel manager, it allows for communication with other professionals that we work with in terms of running the day-to-day running.
Okay.
Our cleaners.
Yeah, the porters.
And all that, yes. Yeah. It just lets them know what needs to be done, sends them a text, and they get that and they get onto the job. So it reduces the time taken to pick up the phone and call so and so and say, oh, this has happened, we need that. Even with the cleaners, once they've done their cleaning, they do a little bit of inspection in the house. Any issues, they can take pictures and upload, and that will come directly to us. So yes, a channel manager can actually do all that for you, and that can, some of it can be done through online travel agents, just on OTA websites, just depending on how far you take your systemization and the automation of the operations of the short-term rental business.
Okay. Now, since you've gone on to automation, have you thought about having properties in other geographical locations? I'm talking about maybe outside the UK. Have you thought about having properties in another country and using your automation system to manage them? Have you thought about it?
Yes, that is something I am actually looking at currently.
Right.
Yes. So, it is something that having operated this short-term rental business for the time that I've been doing it now and learning about all these systems that are there and can be used to make the work more efficient. I am now looking to branch out to places outside the UK, not just the UK, but outside Basildon as well, where I am based. Yes.
Sounds very interesting. Talk to me about your house, what do you call it, housekeeping, the cleaning, how when there's a turnover, when the cleaning is done, the linen management, the how do you stage the property for another guest to come in? Because it does involve a lot of work. I've heard stories where people have started and just quit because they just couldn't handle it and all that.
Yes.
How do you manage this? Because it's quite tasking. I'm experienced in it as well. It's very tasking. How do you manage yours?
Yes, linen can be very daunting if you do things yourself. However, outsourcing is one of the greatest things you can ever do for your short-term rental business. What I do is I've got in place systems. What happens is when a guest checks out, the cleaners are aware that there is a checkout on this day. At this time, we've got a time set that guests should check out by a certain time. And it allows us a period of time between the checkout and the next check-in in time for the cleaners to come in and do the cleaning. So the cleaners will just come in, strip the beds, clean the property, make it look just as it is in the pictures. Because what we did is we made everything to be the way it would be when a guest comes in, bed maids, table set, everything set up in the kitchen, and just the pictures when they were taken, it was just taken like that, and that's how we have it every time guests check in. So guests will come in and do all that, clean and leave it that way. The dirty linen, they will take it all and put it in a bin store. It is just a, like garage storage. The boxes that you have. In some of our properties, you just we put it there. The cleaners will put the linen inside, and then at some point, myself or someone else will come in, collect all those, and take them to a linen company. We've got a linen company that we work with, and these are the linen company is quite a big company that does cleaning, linen washing, or for hotels, for restaurants, and businesses like ourselves. So it's sort of like at an industrial scale. So we take it there, they wash the linen, they iron it, and then just have it ready for us. We go and collect that, come back and put it nicely in the storage cupboards inside the houses. So that and these, by the way, we keep them locked, because should you leave them open, the guests will help themselves. So we just lock that. When the next guests check out, the cleaners will come in and they know that they've got all that they need in there. They will make the beds, take the dirty one out, leave it where it will be collected, and it goes to the linen company. So that makes it really easy, because imagine if you've got, let's just say, 3 properties, and they have 5 beds each. So that's 15 beds if you've got checkouts at each one of them. So 15 sets, you can't put them in your washing machine and wash them, and you can't iron those. Can you imagine the amount of time it would take?
I hate ironing anyway.
Duvets, bed sheets, pillowcases, towels, and no. So all we do is put it all in one place, take it to the linen company. They do all the washing, ironing, pack it nicely, and just let us know. Gets collected, put it in the houses, and we're ready for the next checkout. So that works really well.
So you operate a very seamless housekeeping function in your properties, which is excellent, because a lot of people do struggle with it and all that. That is really good. Talk to me about your expansion a bit more. If you're going outside the UK, do you think you're going to be looking at purchasing the property? Would you be co-hosting, or would you be doing master lease? Because outside the UK, rents are not as high. So what would be your expansion strategy?
Yes, depending on where it is outside the UK, the assessments, doing all the working out all the figures and all that will determine which way to go. Will it be worth it to invest in buying a property, or is it better to invest that money elsewhere and do co-hosting, or do rent-to-rent, guaranteed rent, which is the lease, the Americans, what do they call it again?
Master lease, yeah.
Master lease, yeah. So, so far, just off the top of my head, I would still go with co-hosting. There are homeowners in other countries outside the UK who are running this very same business, short-term rental business, but they are not really conversant with the best practices and the best ways of maximizing in this business, how to run it such that you get the best results you can. And some of them are probably, they've tried and they're just really fed up because they're not getting it right, marketing, operations, and all that. So looking at, or knowing rather, that there are homeowners who have tried the business, even those who haven't even tried it, those who may be interested in it, it's worth just having a chat with them and seeing if it is something that they would be interested in, having someone co-host their properties. Should they actually understand and see the benefits of this, that would be the best way for me to go. So I would be looking mostly at trying to get properties on a co-hosting basis rather than purchasing and doing the master lease. So like I said, it all depends on how you do your analysis before you actually go ahead and do the investment, because each of them takes some form of financial investment, even if you are co-hosting. So yes.
Wow, that is very spot on, really. The other thing I want to move on speedily, we'll be finishing shortly. The other thing I want to move on is how do you ensure that you are able to control your bookings? Because a lot of people think of having a website. Do you have a website to do this, or do you just
actually? I do. Yes, I do have a website, but I will let you know that website was made and it is not being used.
Right. So you still depend on the platforms.
I depend on online travel agents, because the thing with having one's own website is you can have the website and use it for your direct bookings. However, from my experience, I found that I do get guests who come to me from these online travel agents, and once they've got my contacts. Should they want to come back in future, they won't even go to my website, even though it's there in all my communication. They will just drop me an email directly, give me a phone call, or, just text me. So I find that my website is really not being used. And the thing with the website is, should I want people to book through my website the way they would book through a big online travel agent, I would have to invest thousands of pounds in advertising that website just so that it is known. That's what all these online travel agents have done. They've spent years and money marketing themselves and, just occupying people's mind space. Right now, you say to someone, are you going on holiday? So where are you going to book? They will come up with an online travel agent immediately without even thinking about it, because they've heard about it, seen it online, or someone's told them about it. And these online travel agents spend money to get to be known like that. So I am not at that stage yet where I feel that I should duplicate the effort and spend thousands of pounds marketing myself. So that's ride on the back of these giants, really.
Yeah. Final question, last but one. Would you engage the services of an agency to manage your properties for you if you're looking to scale up? Would you?
Definitely. Definitely, I would do that. I would do that. However, as I have already explained, with the rent-to-rent guaranteed rent, that would not be feasible. So, which is why now going forward, I am looking to change the way I acquire the properties in order to enable myself to let go of the day-to-day operations and hand them over to an agency that can look after them. Because if they are not on a guaranteed rent to rent, it becomes feasible. So that is something that I will be looking to do so that I can scale. Yeah, definitely.
Fantastic. Now, the $1 million question, Tabitha.
Yes.
If you were an animal, what animal would you say you are?
You caught me off guard with that one.
Indeed.
Should I say, honestly, the one that came to the top of my head is a tiger. I don't know why.
Right. Why? What about a tiger resonates with your character?
I would say, wow, it's I haven't got the right, not right, but I haven't got the best way of describing it. But the way it is gracious in doing things fast.
Yes.
That's what comes to my
Momentum.
head. You know, it's swift. Yes. And yet it does things with so much efficiency, and so that just, you know, it sounds like me.
Excellent. That's good. I've really enjoyed this interview, Tabitha, and I can't thank you enough. It's been great to have you on board. And are you offering services? Do you have any services that you'd like us to mention, or you know, is there anything that you want us to know about you? And if people want to contact you, how do they get in touch with you?
Definitely. I have spent some time learning about business systemization and automation, and it is something that I have worked hard at on my business to get it to the level where it is. And also I am more of a business analyst. Yeah. Therefore, it is a service that I will be launching very soon. Okay. Other people to systemize and automate their business so that it can free up their time and they can focus on the things that they really need to focus on to scale their businesses. I really spent a lot of time and invested in myself, attended so many trainings and practiced that on my own business. Therefore, short-term rental can be very, very demanding if you don't systemize the business, you don't outsource, you don't map your systems and write down procedures that you need to do, see who you need to give them to. You will find yourself overwhelmed because you will spend 24 hours literally working on the business, you know, actually in the business. As they always say, it's better to on it rather than to work in the business. So that is a service that I am providing at the moment, helping other people in the same business to free up their time by systemizing and automizing their processes.
And how can they reach you? Is there an email address? Or... Yes. There
is an email address, which is my name and surname, tabithagrant@yahoo.co.uk.
Brilliant.
Okay. It is. They can drop me a line at that, and I am always happy to get back to people when they contact me.
Thank you so much, Tabitha. It's been absolutely wonderful having you on board. Thank you very much.
You're most welcome, Douglas. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye.